All right, we're going to go ahead and open the May 1st Design Review Board meeting. If everybody would make sure their microphones are on. And just on the announcements side, Tim handed out a copy of the first draft, I guess, of the Chapter 6 ordinance. So most everyone, well, about half, joined us after we had several meetings about this. So for the last 2 years, we've been collecting things that we'd like to change, things that we'd like to reorder. It's not a wholesale change, but just a few things in there and kind of updating it because it was created prior to a lot of the updates in Chapter 5. So it reflects a little bit of that. So this is our draft for us to review this month, and then it'll be an action item next month on our agenda. And the process piece of that is if we approve it as this is what we would like to see, it'll go to Planning Commission and Board. Planning staff may have their own public meeting about it, but we had 3 public meetings, special meetings, trying to get it drafted. So hopefully that will be changes everybody was hoping to see. So that's the first announcement. Tim, any other announcements? All right, let's go ahead and move on to item 1 then.
Good afternoon, Tim Brown with Planning and Development. Do you want to do these together?
Yes, please.
So I'll begin by saying the applicant's not here. It's a 6-hour drive, so for him it would have been a 12-hour round trip. So he did give me some additional information, but he's not present at the meeting. So I'll just read both of them. The first one is CubeSmart Self-Storage Building Sign. This is a scenic corridor sign application submitted by Hedrick Signs and Graphics, requesting approval of a building sign measuring 305 inches by 25 inches for a total of 52.95 square feet. This next one, CubeSmart Self-Storage Monument Sign. This is a scenic corridor sign application submitted by Hedrick Signs and Graphics, requesting approval of a monument sign measuring 96 inches by 120 inches for a total of 80 square feet on 2.66 acres with a future land use of mixed use and a zoning of coastal center mixed use. The property is located in District 4 on the west side of Highway 98 West, kind of catty-cornered from Silver Sands. And that shopping center that's got Taco Bell in it, I forget the name of that shopping center. These are replacements. In his information, he shows what the previous sign was and what the proposed sign was. He says they're doing red because that's a corporate color. He says, I think they would be willing to change it if you guys didn't like the red, but they're asking for the red because that's part of their corporate color. With that, I'd like to enter both staff reports into the record, please.
All right, so noted.
He did say if you didn't like the red, he said they would be okay with tan or beige. He says the building sign is illuminated, the monument sign is not. It's a non-illuminated sign.
All right, thank you, Tim. Any questions of Tim? Is it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I was going to clarify location, but you go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to ask. It appears the building is what I would describe as beige.
That's what he put. He says on Raceway building wall color, he says white, alternate background colors acceptable, maybe tan or beige. That's what he says. I mean, they want the red, but
That's the monument
Yeah, he's not
sign.
suggesting that he changed the red. He's suggesting that he changed the part that's white to match the beige or tan.
apparently, yes. Apparently, that's what he's
okay.
referring to.
Okay, so we're doing the monument. He was referring to the monument sign most likely as well. Yeah. Okay.
I think
that
you're
makes
right.
sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Any other questions of Tim? Anyone from the, oh, go ahead.
This is the shopping center that has Holy Kitchen and Fat Boys in it. This is on the very, very, very end. It's like they have the little metal balls out front across from Bayside neighborhood, right?
It is, backs up to
Because
Lost
there is
Pizza.
there is another red sign in there already with Holy Kitchen.
Separate parcel. It's not part of that shop. I don't believe it's part of that shopping center. I personally haven't been out there,
Right.
but
Visually, it's against the road adjacent the water treatment plant.
I don't have an aerial map. If you can
so
see it on
Holy
the aerial
Kitchen's
map, then
already red,
yes.
was my point. Okay.
But
I-
we can't, technically, we can't dictate content of sign or color, so.
I wasn't even aware that that was there. I mean, I've never really
I
noticed
don't
it
really
before.
like the sign, but
Yeah.
you can't do anything about the color, and it's like Holy Kitchen's already red, so.
Any other questions of Tim?
Well,
In-
I just have
Huh?
one, since we're talking about the monument sign. The applicant indicated he'd be willing to make it beige. That sounds like the sign, it sure looks like in the photograph that the sign is beige.
The current sign,
Current sign.
I would agree, that's what it looks like in the photograph.
But, do we have an obligation to let them change the non-sign part of the monument?
To me, it looks like it's a wholesale new rebuild, is that correct?
Yeah,
Tim?
they're removing what the current sign and replacing it with this. I think it might be a rebranding thing
Sold to
too.
corporate CubeSmart, yeah.
So they're doing the building sign for the same reason. They're taking the old one down, putting this one up. Based on the differences in color and whatnot, it looks like it might be, I don't know for sure, but it might be a rebrand.
It is within the scope of this board to have an opinion about the monument part of the
Absolutely.
monument sign.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think the proposed sign doesn't have anything to do with the,
I would agree with that. If you don't mind, before we start discussion piece, is anyone else in the audience want to speak on this items number 1 or number 2, building sign or monument sign? All right, and seeing none. All right, discussion. So I agree with you. So we absolutely have purview over the sign, and it doesn't look like it relates to the building, what's visible from the road building. And I clarified with Tim when the agendas were posted, the map that the applicant has provided looks like to me it has 3 sign locations, and Tim confirmed it was just 2. One replacing the existing monument sign in the same location, and one existing on the building in the same location. So I don't know why there's a
Sign number 2 on.
a discrepancy there. But I would prefer if whoever makes a motion on the building or monument sign to make sure that we're clarifying just it's one sign at that location. So. Other than color of the monument,
Yeah, let me just qualify. 2 wasn't allowed. They wanted to put one facing 98 and one on the side, right? And I'm like, well, you're not on a corner lot. You can't have, and they didn't want to apply for a deviation. So that's why it's showing 3. That's what they wanted to do. But I told them, you can't have that sign on the east side.
thank you. Tim, sorry, one more question for you. We've confirmed there's no other potential neighbor that would be putting their logos or anything on the sign, that middle piece is banded, is just a artistic thing, that there's not another sign potential. We, on the monument sign, since we've been burned a little bit in the past,
He didn't indicate that they were putting anything else on the sign. I mean, there is it shows a large area there, but he didn't indicate that anything else was going on that sign.
okay. All right. Thank you.
Where is the position of the building sign is it sign number 3 or sign number 2 is dictated on the site plan? Sign number 3. So sign number 2 will need to be eliminated and clarified. Okay.
Any other discussion, any questions, or?
Tim, you said you don't consider this to be a corner parcel, although it's up against Miramar Beach Drive and 98?
A lot of this starts just running together. I have so many projects, but based on that map, it actually does look like it is on the corner of Miramar Beach
Right, I
Drive
wasn't,
and Highway 98.
I wasn't sure if your beef was because it was on the opposite side of the parcel and it needed to be on the corner.
But they've only uploaded two applications, one for the building sign and one for the monument sign. So, but based on this, it looks like they might be able to have that sign.
Typically, when we've approved an additional sign, it was for the frontage of the additional road and not,
I'm just wondering if their intent is to use that
Yeah,
same
'cause they are
sign
showing
on
it
both
up-
sides.
They
That's
are showing
2
it
and
on the
3.
east
That's what's
side.
not clear.
They're not showing it on that corner, which would be the west side of the building. Maybe that's why I told them they couldn't have it, because that's not a corner there. It'd be the other side that's the corner. Honestly, I don't remember. All these things just start running together.
So are you saying they could have it on the side of the building on Miramar Beach Drive?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
okay,
It's a
yeah.
corner,
Side.
but they're
Okay.
showing it on the they're showing it on the other
Right.
side of the
Right.
building.
Yeah.
Not specifically, but he'd like to get it approved at this meeting. That's why he's okay with any conditions you guys want to put on it. He doesn't want to be continued to the next meeting, because he still probably wouldn't drive 12 hours to be here. But I mean, that's at your discretion, whether you want to approve it with conditions or continue it to the next meeting.
I mean, yeah, not wanting to drive 12 hours to be here, but you took a job 6 hours away, so if you, like, I would just like him to clarify where the signage is going, whether it doesn't say specifically in here where he's intending to have, if it's 2 or 3, you're saying it's 3, but if he intends to have 2 signs, and maybe he does want to, and then add it to the other side,
Well,
but
it really doesn't matter. From my point of view, the code says you can have one sign. It doesn't really matter where you put it. Like La Quinta and Comfort Suites, the sign is facing 98, but the entrance to both of those buildings are on the east side. It really doesn't matter. Most of them want to put it on Highway 98. But if they wanted to put it on the side, they could do that as well. The code doesn't say it has to face the road. Most do, but there's no requirement for that.
and I think that's easy enough to clarify with a condition that it would be located at location 1 and location 3, and then we're only approving the 2. So. I'd like to see it match the building personally.
Yeah, I think if he matched the color, I mean, they show a rendering of where he's proposing, and it's pretty close to where the current sign is. And when you go to Google Street View, I mean, I don't see any problem with what the location they're suggesting. I mean, the sign is just pushed, back from the highway. There's live oak trees around there. The building's pretty far set back as well. But I would just like to see the colors coordinated. Just the sign, actual monument, not the signage.
Yeah, I would agree. So we'll need to take, even though we've had discussion as one item, we will need to take 2 separate votes. So we'll have one motion and vote on item 1, and then a second one on item 2. Item 1 is the building sign, correct? Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the building sign as is, as long as it is in position 3 as stated on the site plan.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anyone want to take a stab at number 2?
It was me. Yep. I would make a motion to approve the monument sign at location 1, with the condition that the background color of the monument itself is coordinated to match the existing building color.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to item 3. Tim?
Yes, thank you. Bay Dental Center building sign. This is a scenic corridor sign application submitted by Double H Construction requesting approval of building sign measuring 32 inches by 168 inches for a total of 37.33 square feet on 4.34 acres with the future land use of mixed use and the zoning of village mixed use. Property is located in District, well, it doesn't say, but yeah, District 5 on the north side of Highway 9. This is the shopping center that does not have a master sign plan. I get them confused. I think it's Santa Rosa Plaza, but it's either Santa Rosa or Emerald Coast Plaza. I can never remember which is which, but it's one of the few shopping centers on 98 that does not have a master sign plan. So every sign has to come to this board. With that, I'd like to enter a staff report into the record, please.
So noted.
And I'll entertain any questions you have. It's that 3-building shopping center, 98 barbecues in there, and Fat Daddy's Pizza and others.
And this is just going to occupy one bay.
One bay, yes.
All right. Any other questions of Tim? All right. Anyone from the audience care to speak on this one? And seeing nobody, any discussion? It's says it's going to be LED on a
Exterior lights.
internally illuminated. Just as a note, Tim, I would really prefer when we have these shopping centers if we could get a little bit more context, a photograph zoomed out, or at least not standing and only showing the one bay.
My name's Finus Fisher from Fishco Graphics. On those pictures, if you zoom out very far, you won't really see any of the signs because they're so small on those buildings. That's why they're individually, each one of those is zoomed where you can actually see it.
Well, we just have one picture in the package. We don't have anything
It
else.
should have been 5. I brought each one of those should have had 5 or 6 different pictures in it, and I dropped it off at the office here or over there.
Was there? Submittals are digitally uploaded.
Yeah, we sent it in the email in the portal. I guess y'all didn't get that.
Did not. We just have
Well, I do
a very,
apologize
yeah,
because
very
they,
zoomed in shot. Is the book? Is in the book?
yeah, I dropped them off. There was 5 sets. Took me an hour and 15 minutes to bring them here.
Anything? Yeah.
We'll send them to the portal.
Is that the Thai place next door? See the, is,
The Thai
is that
place?
it?
Close if it's not. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
that's,
so.
so I know where it's at. That's right next to it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're sorry that didn't get uploaded.
Oh,
into
that's
the
fine.
agenda.
I mean, I would have
Yeah.
brung
it-
extras.
No,
if-
no, 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 that's fine. There you go. We've got it. That's why we have the paper copy. All right. All right. Any other discussion or, well, I guess you guys hadn't, this is just the other shopping center.
Seems pretty straightforward. The sign seems in keeping with the signage that's on the building. So, unless anyone has a comment, I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Tim, item 4.
Yes, thank you. Planet 13 building sign. This is a scenic quarter sign application submitted by Coastline Wholesale Signs and LED Displays, requesting approval of a building sign measuring 200 inches by 36 inches for a total of 50 square feet on 3.09 acres with the future land use mixed use and a zoning of coastal center. Properties located in District 4 at the corner of Forest Shore Drive and Highway 98 West. With that, I'd like to enter the staff report into the record, please.
So noted.
This has somewhat of a wrinkle that you all may or may not want to do anything about, but when they came in for their monuments, and of course they're changing name, it's still a marijuana dispensary, but it was Vitacam before, now it's going to be Planet 13. Same location, same use.
Oh, this is the monument sign location that I just fussed about.
Yes, when the monument sign came in, what you approved was Vitacam, but what's on the sign is Evie Mae Barbecue
In a different location.
in a different location.
So that was going to be my question.
Yeah.
How many tenants are on this?
2. They partitioned the
3.
building. Well, I think right now there's 2, but they partitioned the building, put a door at that end. That's where the marijuana dispensary is. The rest of it previously was YOLO. Now there may have been something in there in between, but right now it's Evie Mae Barbecue.
Could you describe for us this? Since I believe it was built as a single structure. It's parcel ID number, right?
Yes.
So the fact that there happen to be 3 tenants in the building, that doesn't grant them any more signs than a.
Correct. They could have 1 building sign per tenant.
Yeah.
Like any shopping center, if you have multiple, typically they're bays. This isn't a bay, but you can have a sign for each bay, unless it's a tenant has more than 1 bay. Then you have 1 for however many bays they have. But each tenant is allowed a building sign.
I was fussing about the monument sign because that, when it came before us, which is not an item for discussion tonight, but when it came before us, it was just 1 of the tenants, and it was in a different location on the sign. It was banded like the cube storage sign, and so they just kind of relocated it.
And change the name.
But I guess not relevant for today. But that was just funny, serendipitous, I guess, that we. had
It's
that
sort of like the
discussion.
sign. It's the monument sign version of my problem, which is that architecturally this is a single building,
Yes.
and we're getting, it appears, applications from each tenant separately to put signs on the building.
I wasn't aware there was a 3rd tenant because
Well, there may not be. I mean,
you have to be able to access wherever that is. That's why they had to put a door at the other. So
But I
you-
guess
you're
David's
going
asking
into
you,
the-
at what point in time did this change from having, did the master signage plan state
Well, they don't
you can
have
have
a-
multiple, so
they
they don't
don't-
have,
So-
that's the
so
answer
it's
to the
hard-
question.
It's hard for us, yeah,
There's no
it's hard
master
for us to
signage
But they
plan,
put-
so they can
because
do
we
it.
don't know what the other tenant's gonna wanna
Right.
do or has done.
But they partitioned the building,
I get that. but
got a
you-
clock, so there's two tenants.
But there's been plenty of projects that come with your more typical multi-tenant
Sure, yes,
structure, single building,
yes.
single building permit, multiple tenant bays, and the buildings are usually designed, just like our previous application,
Yeah.
where there's shape to the roof, something where you can kind of stick these individual signs, and they architectural, they're cohesive, even
Yes.
if they're different.
Yes,
This building, we're being presented with an application with one sign on a building that was designed as a single tenant building. Problem rendering a decision on a sign when I don't know where the second tenant's sign is going. No master sign plan.
An
It's
EV May
almost
sign's already
guaranteed it's
up.
gonna end up looking.
The EV May sign's already up, so what you're not seeing is the overall picture of how the building
Yeah.
looks right now.
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't
Opposition.
remember if I told them to show that. I mean, typically I tell people, they want to see the other signage, you know, if there's
It's
other,
just
they
very
want to
important.
see
And,
it.
On
and
this
same
side.
comment that we just made from the last not cube storage, the Bay Dental. That we do need the context. We do need the zoom out. We do need the rest
Especially
of
on
the
this
property.
particular building, it's a
It's a compatibility analysis.
Yeah,
It's
and I'm
just
not
knowing-
sure if I try to always tell people that. I'm not sure if I did it in this case or not, but I certainly try to always tell people they're going to want to see the other signage to see what context this sign is with the others.
the applicant here, okay.
But Vatican is there now and Evie May.
Correct.
They're
Correct.
swapping this out.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's where the Vatican
This
is.
sign
The
is on
sign
the
is in this
side.
location.
Yeah, because I remember approving this a long time ago. So,
Yeah, they're switching it out because,
Yeah.
obviously the name changed.
yeah.
I don't know if the ownership changed as well, but
So, Madam Chairman, to be clear, since I've been inadvertently
Yeah.
Sorry, that's her job, not mine. But the question I have for the applicant is to get if they could comment on the concern about how are we to deal with what appears to be multiple tenants, what the plan is for signage going forward, existing signs are gonna remain, how this sign, the new sign being applied for relates to that. This building.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nick with Coastline Signs, and I come
Nope,
from
last name, please, friend.
Nicholas Florio. So, I don't know if you have copies of this, but this was the original. Opposite.
We don't have copies of that. Again, we
Oh,
just
here
have
you
the
go.
one
I
item
brought
in
I
the,
brought 2 copies.
do we have, is it in the, well, hold on. Is it in the book?
Okay. So existing sign goes away?
Existing sign will be removed, yes, sir.
Thank you.
So what you see there is the existing sign, which is in its own separate parapet, opposite side of the existing. Evie Mays, already existing as well, has the same exact set of channel letters that we will be consistent with. Those are the only 2 tenants that we are aware in that parcel. The proposed sign meets all square footage.
So can you describe for me the
Box.
black box? Yeah.
It's a channel letter as well, so it would be illuminated just as a channel letter, just like the dimensions and depth has the letters next to them.
So like a cabinet sign,
Cabinet, or,
which we don't allow, right, in the code?
but it's not individually square. Cabinet would be usually by itself.
if it's like Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
that's one large channel letter, more or less. Starbucks.
Yeah. So the
One
logo,
large
large logo.
Logo,
I think that's what he's referring to here. It's one large channel. It's got depth.
It's incorporated with letters.
But the facade of that is completely on the same plane.
Same plane, just like Evie Mae's Pit Barbecue, just like the Vitacan Premium Cannabis. It's already existing. Same sign, same cabinet, same logo, same tagline, pill, capsule.
I don't think we approve the Evie May sign, so.
Oh,
Okay. I think I understand on that one. Any other questions of our applicant?
Well, and this is gonna be internally illuminated?
yes, sir.
Okay, so there's a conduit running across that roof that was never approved a long time ago too, and that light, is it gonna come out?
That's already removed, I
That's
want to
already
say.
removed.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So it didn't interfere with our indirect illumination.
okay.
Any other questions of our applicant?
This one is just is a question directed to the applicant.
That's what we tried, and it would not meet without deviation. We presented many, and our hands were tied on the
Could have asked for
architectural of the building.
I
deviation.
like it better the other way, though. I'm with you. I'm with David.
This is
Mhm.
Peyton.
I apologize.
Yeah.
My name's Peyton Mosley. I'm Senior Vice President at Planet 13.
And originally
the
Vitacan.
idea you have is our more traditional.
David, would you please speak into the microphone? It's a challenge when you're stacking it like that to meet the 36-inch height. So they originally had it that way, but it exceeded that. They decided they didn't want to go through a deviation process, so they put it where it's compliant.
And honestly, as a business owner, it's not as visible. If you look at the Vatican sign stack, that's very small from 98. We're set back pretty far, so this gives us a little bit more visibility from the
Okay, and just because I wasn't picked up previously, I'm just going to restate my question, which you've already answered ably. Thank you. And that was if you could place the Planet 13 above the Cannabis for the Planet as a composition. Madam, may I ask another? Okay.
They can't, but Tim, what was the deviation in height on that? If they did that, was it significant?
Or do you remember how high it was?
Yes, it was the 3-foot Planet 13, and then it was about 15-inch plus a little bit of a depth. I want to say overall was about 50 inches by X amount.
36 the maximum, so I guess it'd be
How
like,
big is this one? Evie
Oh,
Mace,
over.
the one that we didn't.
Yeah, we didn't approve
the
that
one that we
one.
didn't.
And that's the
But-
concept we were trying for.
Right.
So.
yeah,
But I guess what
unfortunately,
I'm
we're
saying
seeing
is-
more and more of after you guys approve something, that's not what gets installed because we don't have anyone to inspect it. No one goes out there and inspects these things.
Yeah, and
Right.
like other opinions to self. Okay. So just procedurally, even if we wanted to discuss having another arrangement tonight because you didn't advertise for a deviation, we wouldn't be able to approve that. But Tim may have shared with you, we do sometimes approve deviations. If, say, you're in the same square footage that is our code, but you have to extend one way or another, either because of logo or to meet the size of the space. So that isn't necessary, we're not always no on deviations, I guess is the question, is the comment there, but
I would certainly support a deviation if the same size letters and everything the same size was just rearranged. I certainly would support that if it was properly noticed. And
so, I mean, if you guys wanted to defer until next month, we
Actually,
could-
as a company, we would prefer to move forward with the current drawings, just for time's sake and to get to work.
We've submitted in almost November, so I know there was some business occupational license changing and everything else, but time frame, we would like to move quickly.
Can you clarify this Cannabis for the Planet? It's not on a black box, right? It's not gonna look like a black box.
It's on a channel letter,
It's on
just
the
like
channel
the,
letter. So
just
it's
like the
just like-
letters. It's gonna have vinyl over it, and then that will illuminate on the inside.
So it won't look quite as heavy on that one side.
Correct,
That's what's
no.
getting us right now is the composition of this in relation to the rest of the
The
center
white
as
and the
well.
black, yes.
Yes,
It's
just
only
the way that it graphically reads right now is it's like, no. But that's not the way it's really gonna look.
no, it's gonna appear just as the channel letters all around,
And those letters
Conforming.
are white?
white.
Okay.
The background will not be black, you're saying?
Background of the.
Yeah, he just had to put the black background in it so we could actually read the letters.
Oh,
Yeah.
But it's not in real life gonna be this black heavy box on the right-hand side, right?
It will have black vinyl on it, but it's not gonna be black out.
Okay, I see.
Like a Chick-fil-A has all red background with the C letter with the
Yeah.
white coming out, or Starbucks has a white with the black and the green. Same exact concept.
So the black will be there.
This is also a trademark company.
Are we allowed to approve a deviation without having going through that, onto that
No,
process?
we can't.
Makes
We,
sense.
they have to be noticed, appropriately for that. And they have to apply for it. So I guess that's a little different there. It's difficult to understand what the total width and size, I mean, we struggled on the VitaCan sign when it first came in, trying to figure out how it actually scaled in that eve. Because we know Photoshop doesn't always scale appropriately, especially when you're looking up at an image instead of straight ahead.
Those are scaled renderings, what you're looking at.
Do you, what is your wide?
18 feet wide inside the, 20, I would have to grab my, any of,
Of the building, not, of the building, not the sign itself. Like, yeah, so are we looking at 2 inches of clearance between the sign and the eave, or are we looking at?
from here to here,
Mm-hmm.
probably about 18 inches. Depth perception looking up,
Right, which is,
longer,
Right.
taller than it is.
which is always the problem when you're not,
But yes, we
Yeah.
are limited to that spot. That's our.
mm.
One idea, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
One idea to run by applicant would be if you were trying to, if your preference was to do your stack text, and we can't approve it tonight, what we could do, if you, just running this by you, we could approve the Planet 13 minus the tagline tonight. You could come back only for the deviation on adding that below there. If you wanted to take that route so you could get signage going on, get your business running, if that was your preference.
Good solution.
Cannabis for the Planet has to be there for the Department of Health. So we
Okay.
have strict guidelines to
Good.
follow.
Okay. I know you guys run under a certain set of
We-
extra.
Correct.
Tim, just real quick, can you confirm that there's not currently an open code violation with the other signage on the building for this parcel?
As far as I know, there is not,
Okay.
which just means no one's complained.
So one other thing, it sounds like a couple people up here have noted the black box. Would you be open to, since the building, the background is white, so that's not reading as that, switching those two colors, so your
White
text.
background, black letters?
Yes.
No problem.
That would look yeah.
Won't be as so bold.
Yeah.
We still get the name across.
It's a great solution. Yeah, I really like that. And you're agreeable with that change? Any other questions of our applicant? Okay, thank you, guys.
you.
Anyone from the audience want to speak on this one? All right, and seeing no one. I think we've kind of merged our discussion in there, but I think that's a great solution to switch the lettering. I think it'll help balance the. This, yeah.
It's proportionally is reading.
Yeah, agreed. It just heavy on that side.
I have I guess one more question. And if the applicant wants to, you don't have to come up, well, I guess
To answer,
I guess you have to answer, yeah. Is it possible when you install the sign that these two pieces, the Planet 13 and the rest of the sign, are separate? And if, I don't know if you'd want to come back for a deviation request afterwards and then rearrange them later?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
We'd like it if you did.
That's all right. We showed about 15. I know Tim wants to get me done too, because we probably have been through about 15 different renderings to comply.
It's hard because the code, as much as everyone tries to write it, to be cohesive, buildings are not all built the same. Sign
Correct.
spaces, corporate logos are not all the same. That's where you have the issue. I'm sure that little red is kind of giving you trouble right there on the side of adding inches. So
We're losing a lot of square footage. Now, Osceola County, for example, we work from Miami, Duval to Pensacola. They remove the square footage in that blank space. So they are willing to give you the larger sign, but also deduct for that square footage to make the aesthetics maximum work.
yeah.
Just for future.
Yeah, we're
Just for
agreeable.
future,
Yeah,
so.
we're agreeable to the deviation piece. It's you kind of have to set a baseline right somewhere, and
Absolutely.
and then go from there.
And just for future, we do that often by deviation. Like when someone has a logo has one enlarged letter, we don't make that mess up the whole signage, but you have to apply for that deviation. And normally we look at it and, depending if it works for the building, have
Understand.
approved those. And one other way, if you're ever wanting to do something like this, like you would have liked to stack your letters, you can always apply to come in the month prior, where you're not on the actual voting agenda, but just ask for board feedback.
Okay.
And that kind of stuff, just for future, that can always be addressed in that situation while you're going through the other stuff anyway with the county, that you're not actually losing time. But Tim is there and here's our feedback, that we're guiding you in a way that would require deviation. So
Great to know. I'm sure they plan, with the great foundation they have here as 5 years now, they plan on opening more.
Well, I like the compromise.
I like the compromise as well.
Of changing the letters to black and removing the black background.
Does anyone want to make a motion or try to word that one?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
As in,
anybody
I
can
will,
go. We've
yeah,
got everybody here tonight. So
Sorry, I know we do. All right, I will.
They would follow that EV maze as well. I think that was white capsule, black letters.
it was, yeah.
So
Is, yeah.
Yep.
So if that's what we want to call it, white capsule, black letters. All right, so we will motion to approve the Planet 13 building sign with the condition the tagline "Cannabis for the Planet" is reversed with black letters and white capsule.
all right, motion.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you,
thank
gentlemen.
you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Tim.
Yes, thank you. Item number 5, 98 Central Monument Sign. This is a scenic quarter sign application submitted by Vintage Sign and Light, requesting approval of a monument sign measuring 66 inches by 108 inches for a total of 49.5 square feet on 1.30 acres with the future land use of mixed use and a zoning of village mixed use. Property is located in District 5 near the corner of Highway 98 and Muscle Bayou Road. With that, I'd like to enter a staff report, please.
All right, so noted.
So you guys have seen this before with their master sign plan, because when you do a master sign plan, you have to show the monument sign and the location, but it doesn't approve the sign. You still have to come back and get your monument sign approved. So that's why we're here. It is relatively small since you can have 80 square feet, but it.
That's
but it-
okay.
But it is.
We're okay with smaller signs.
It is compliant. And this came in as Santa Rosa Commercial, but now they're calling it 98 Central.
Mm-hmm. And they were a little bit late with the master sign plan too, because we had one or two building signs up.
Yeah, at least
before they
two
brought in the
before they
master sign plan.
yeah, before they finally brought it in.
All right. Any additional questions of Tim? All right. Thank you. Anyone from the audience want to speak on this one? Applicant, anybody? Okay, nobody. Discussion? I like the sign. I love the idea that it's not 12 feet tall. I appreciate that we're scaling signs to match parcels. So I'm don't have any other questions or issues on this. I don't want to speak for everybody else if everybody.
No, I like it. It's fine.
gonna-
No, I think it turned out good.
All right.
I'll move the approval as presented.
We have a motion and
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
All right. Any other business tonight, Tim? All right. Motion to adjourn. All right.
I wouldn't have gotten because I missed last month.